God's word says a good person leaves an inheritance for their children's children. Well, how can we do that if we're only focused on the Lambo? So I think a lot of the people that may feel like they're content where they are selling, they can't go anywhere, they've already got great comp, but yet there's something missing. What is the thing that's missing? What is missing? Here's what's missing.
I'll tell you what, that is a hard question for you to ask me because I get emotional thinking about it. And I don't want to turn this into Dana cries on her own podcast show. And the quotas, even in my previous jobs, it's you are a number and how much numbers can we get out of you?
Yeah.
And so you just kind of, when you go for 20 plus years, experiencing that kind of feedback, you kind of become just numb.
You're gonna have to do some teaser at the front end to get them to stay on this long, because if you don't, they might miss the best part. They might.
I think
just
that's
miss
the teaser.
Best part. Holy cow! What just happened? Anyway.
Welcome back to Final Expense Telesales. My name is Dana Neeson. Thank you so much for being here today. As you know, I have recently started my own agency called Empower Life Group. And with that founding of the new agency, I have decided to hang that hat with Lasting Mark. And a lot of people, I've come to realize, are confused about who Lasting Mark is, what their name used to be, who runs the company. Tell me more about them. So today I have brought Roger Short, the Chief Visionary Officer and Senior Managing Partner and Board Member of Lasting Mark, to help kind of clear the air and provide you some clarity. Welcome, Roger.
Thank you for having me, Dana. Thank you so much. I'm honored to be on your show. I'm
A
honored
long
to be
time
on the
coming.
Dana Neeson show. You've been on our LIA podcast, I think, twice now, right? On
Yeah.
my LIA podcast twice. And I'm like, hey, what's happening over here? And you're like, no, let's make it happen. So I'm honored to be on today, and I'm honored to give a full explanation to clear the air so that everybody has clarity on what's happening here with Lasting Mark, with me, and what we're trying to do in the industry, and how you're involved now, and how this is a unbelievable partnership.
I'm so excited to dig in and talk about a lot of stuff today,
Yeah.
including the alignment of how we teach and what we pour into agents, and we'll get there in a little bit.
Hmm.
But you brought something up very early on in your introduction, which is that I've been on your Life Insurance Academy podcast twice. Uh,
Hmm.
most people don't even, well, most people that I've spoken to, I don't want to misspeak there. Most
Yeah.
people I've spoken to don't even realize that you are, an agency owner with Lasting Mark. It's just Roger Short, Life Insurance Academy, telesales, sales guru with Chris and Zach. So why the
Mhm.
separation?
Well, Dana, when I got into the business, I got my license in 2010, late 2010, started in 2011 selling, transitioned from another company, an advertising company. We had a fairly large marketing company in the Yellow Pages space back in 2001. And right in the telecom, deregulation in the telecom industry. I moved here from Canada to start that company. We started with nothing. And, 10 years later, we had 48 markets, 8 states, and 62 million in revenue. There was 5 partners, and we brought on a private equity firm. That's how we were able to grow and scale it. That's how we went from 18 million to 62 million. And then we hit the mortgage market crash of 2010, 2009. And that got me thinking about a second venture, another venture, about what I wanted to do. There was also a little bit of misalignment with the leadership of that company because of the private equity influence on who we were and how we were operating. They didn't want to see the declines that we were happening because of the recession. They wanted to keep that 28% growth going year over year, and it wasn't, that wasn't a realistic expectation at that time. When I realized their values in protecting the shareholders' value over the team members' value and over our clients. Their priority went to shareholders first, and that wasn't my priority. My priority was our clients and our team. And we had a lot of people. We had 260 reps across the country working, to create that. Plus, the whole internal team operations. It was a large enterprise, and I fell out of alignment, and I decided I want to do something different. And I discovered this great world of insurance, and I heard about this thing called Final Expense, which now you are a whole channel dedicated just to Final Expense and doing it over the phone. Back then, Dana, we didn't do it over the phone. Everybody ran away from the phone and people were doing it face to face. And I went and rode around with a guy by the name of Fred for 2 days, saw what he did, and I saw that he made a difference to people. I saw him help an older man named Mr. Williamson, um, who had lost his wife the year before, whose obituary was still on the table of the kitchen that we were sitting at. And Mr. Williamson didn't have any coverage in place for him. And his two sons said, Dad, can you please get some coverage because we're still paying for Mom's funeral? Like that was my introduction to what final expense was. And I had no idea. This was while I was still a partner at my other company now, an equity partner making well over $250,000 a year, profit sharing bonuses. I mean, everything, valuation was growing. And I was, uh, I was moved and I realized this industry makes a difference. Well, I started in the business, got started just myself, started to figure it out, worked some direct mail leads. They were PO box leads only. I didn't realize they were PO box leads until I was 2.5 hours away and realized that there was no addresses on them. That's another story. But, all that stuff happened and I got into the business and I had two carriers. I was independent. I didn't go to work for a company like you did. I went to work as an independent agent, had a median to lower contract, I think, at the time for what it was. I think I started off like at 75% in my contract and started to move up a little bit as I started to have success and started to figure it out. I ended up with three carriers and I added a fourth carrier and I worked with those four simple carriers for the first 18 months, almost 20 months before I started to change. But one of the things I noticed was that I fell in love with what I did, fell in love with the clients. It was all face to face at the time. Everybody was scared to death of the phone. Nobody knew how to do what you were doing. Nobody. And everybody would run from that. Like, you can't sell over the phone. You're wasting money. You're losing money. You're going to burn your leads. It's a terrible investment. Like, why would you try to do that? Just go sit with them and be real and have a human interaction and sell them. And so that's what we were doing. Um, and then COVID hit. Well, right before COVID hit, let me back up. Let me back up 2020. I covered a lot of ground there, right? With when I started the business. We started to grow and scale in the final expense space. And I started a company called Advanced Team Partners. And I invited Chris into the business with me. And then a couple years later, Zach's resume shows up on my LinkedIn account. And I knew Zach when he was in the 5th grade. My daughter was a cheerleader on his little basketball team. He was in the 5th grade. She was in the 3rd grade. My daughter's now 30. We have a grandson with her now, and my son-in-law, Paul Madison. And but that's how long I knew Zach. Zach's resume showed up a couple years later. Zach came to work for us, and we started building out something pretty cool and pretty special. And we were only doing sales on the road, and we would go, spend 2 or 3 days and come back. But here's one of the things I noticed: there was a lot of people being taken advantage of. A lot of seniors. It was bait and switch. They were being hard closed. They didn't have good products in place. A lot of them didn't even know the name of their clients. And a lot of them were just not treated right. And I felt like this group of people were, Dana, for lack of a better word, marginalized because of their socioeconomic status.
Right.
And to me, that's not who I was. I'm like, they deserve better. These are good people. They need to be treated with respect. How do we do this better? And how do we teach agents how to do it better? And in 2020, before COVID, the pandemic happened, January 2020, we decided to launch the Life Insurance Academy. Now, we had a couple of iterations before that. It was really wonky. I'm not even going to go back and tell you what those were. You could probably find old videos on YouTube, and if you look hard enough, you'll find them. But January of 2020, we launched our first podcast. It was audio only on Spotify and Apple and a bunch of other, podcast platforms. And we started telling the story of how we felt people should be treated. We started talking about the 5-part selling framework, which we still teach to this day. 5, the principled sales process, how to treat people right, how to uncover their need, how to bring real value, how to meet their needs and put them in a better place. I didn't feel like that was being done at a high level. And I didn't want our podcast to be a recruiting platform, because too many people, the day they jump onto YouTube or they get on social media, it's all about, join my MLM, join my coaching program. I'm going to show you how to start a coaching program so you can teach other people how to do coaching programs so they can teach people how to do coaching. And nobody's selling a real product. They're just teaching people how to do coaching program. And it seems like it's pitched from day one. Gary Vaynerchuk wrote a book a few years ago called Jab, 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 Right Hook, VaynerMedia. If you follow people on social, you know who Gary V is. Jab, 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 right hook is a concept of give, 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 and then ask. Give, 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 and then ask. It's called a value-based economy rather than a transactional economy where I ask the very first time I present my value. I'm asking. And I decided that's more in alignment of who I am. Because if I'm going to grow something, number one, I want people to be attracted to me and what I stand for.
Yep.
I didn't want to miss alignment again with anything I did in the future. Secondly, I just wanted to bring value to the market and raise what I thought seniors deserved in being treated right and being sold right. And I didn't want to have that tied to the fact that they needed to come work with me and put their contracts with me for us to accomplish that. And I felt like if I stood up and we taught those things and we educated people and we let people know out there in the marketplace who are thinking of a career change, maybe they're stuck in a job or career they don't love, maybe they're capped out in their income, maybe they're nervous, maybe they're considering life insurance as an option. I want them to find my videos and know that this is one of the best kept secrets in America, and it can change your life if you get in, you get connected to the right people, and you do it for the right reasons. It can literally change the trajectory of your life. And that's what I wanted Life Insurance Academy to be about. Now,
Can I interrupt for a
yeah,
moment?
interrupt because I can roll here.
I know you can. So you just actually said something very interesting,
Mhm.
and I don't even know if you caught it. I'm going to ask if you caught it, because what you just said, something that you just said, you say often on the weekly Thursday night Meet the Partners, which is
Mm.
a consistent, for those that don't know what that is, that's a consistent sort of webinar. I don't even know if you would call it
An
Zoom
opportunity overview. Yeah.
opportunity overview, where you can understand what Lasting Mark is, who the partners are, what we do, the whole kit and caboodle.
Yes.
But you say something every Thursday that you just said right now. Do you know what that is?
That we're in the best kept secret in America, and I wish everybody knew it because it can change your life.
Yes, thank you. So
Very
exactly.
intentional. My language was very intentional.
I know. So you just said, the industry is the best kept secret. It's
Yes.
becoming less and less of the best kept secret with these huge FMOs, IMOs now having a huge presence and a huge voice. I think the
Yeah.
industry itself is not necessarily the best kept secret anymore, but I definitely do think that Lasting Mark is the best kept secret. And selfishly, I don't want it to be. So right? I don't want it
Maybe
to be.
that's why we're doing this video today. Huh?
And so I want people to know and like understand better, like a mini Meet the Partners.
Yeah.
Why Lasting Mark? I know I can share with people why I chose Lasting Mark, and I do have an opportunity to kind of share some of that every Thursday night when I'm there with you. But from your perspective, why do you feel it's the best kept secret? And why not just have why shouldn't someone just go make a decision based on where they can get the best leads, for example?
Well, in this segue between Roger Short, the life insurance sales trainer guy on Life Insurance Academy, and a managing partner with Lasting Mark, with 9 other phenomenal partners in the space, with over 2,500 agents around the country and growing by the hundreds weekly. Our volume and our progression and our annuity business and our Medicare business and our life business all growing on a northeast graph that I could have only dreamed of, and we're so excited about. And it's come from a momentum that's caught place about doing things the right way for the right reasons and attracting the right people. And so the same message that I teach out there on Life Insurance Academy, which is only one vertical of the 3 we offer with Lasting Mark, okay? And I knew nothing about Medicare, Dana, when I started. I mean, Medicare, I didn't know. I mean, do you need a health license? And that seems hard, so I'm just going to stick with my life license. You know what I mean? That was me when I first started. And there's probably life agents out there that think that. But anyways, and annuities, I certainly didn't know about how to formulate, and move people in that. We did some annuities with our life division, but not a lot. We didn't really have a proper division. So the same heart and the same passion and the same alignment that I was the message that I wanted to put out through Life Insurance Academy, that I don't really make a recruiting engine for my agency, is a passion about the industry and how it can change their life. Now, remove the hat of the educator and the trainer and someone who wants to let people know about this beautiful industry and move over to the partner who's growing something special at Lasting Mark, you better well believe that I'm going to damn well make it the best place ever that anybody could ever be and show up and be a part of. And I want them to know if they're coming here because they align with who we are. They align with our values. They align with the goal and the vision we have. I mean, if you were at our event last weekend in Branson, Missouri, with hundreds and hundreds of agents being recognized and rewarded and honored and taught and trained by some of the best people in the industry, and the gala dinner that we did at the end and recognizing our Hall of Fame producers, it's special. And it gives me so much pride to see these people literally changing their lives from one year to the next. To see a Casey Askins, who just 3 years ago was a basketball coach at a D2 school, making $40,000 a year, to this year making over $300,000 in this business, transitioning in with no experience. And how is that possible without the help of family, but coming in and plugging into a system and literally changing her life? Like, that's what this is all about for me. So why Lasting Mark? For me, the same passion that we have in teaching principles of ethical selling and moving people to a better place, which is what I want and that channel and that platform to be about. And we train agents around the country with different IMOs, and we have relationships with all these top level people that I know are doing things the right way. And then there are all these other people that I'm like, oh boy, can you stop listening to that person and get in line with who you are as an individual and serve people as a human, because that's a human, and stop seeing them as a dollar sign. And we try to get people over here. So that same person who's over here teaching is the same person who's over here leading that mantra and then trying to attract the very best. And I think the two collide, but they're not colliding because I'm out there saying, hey, come join Lasting Mark on the Life Insurance Academy channel. They're not. But I can tell you there are so many people that are starving for a good place to be and a good home. And they reach out. They reach out to us. And if they're in alignment with what we're trying to do, of course I'm recommending my own business. It would be crazy for me not to. But that's not our intent. Our intent is not that. And so Lasting Mark, while I believe it is one of the best kept secrets, it's really only barely 3 years old because it's a merger of two companies that came together to do something special. And Dana, we are in a groundswell. We're in this place where like I told the team in my closing talk on Saturday in Branson at that event, I said the match has been lit and the fire is burning and the groundswell is starting to rise and people are feeling it and the industry is starting to see it. And it's only a matter of just a few years and the entire industry and the country will know that we are here. We are here now. There's people changing their lives now and impacting people and serving families and walking into this, walking out of careers that they thought, how did I end up here? How did I lose my job? How was this taken from me? Why am I not getting promoted? Am I not enough? And then they're walking into this and plugging into someone like you that's literally on the phone with them and on a Zoom with them, on a meet, on a Google Meet, and it's open channel where they can hear you talking to clients and you getting daily coaching and have those calls and a mentor and a coach to say, I can help you change your life if you want to do that. Do you want to join me in that mission? And we plug them into someone like you. And man, I just want to be your biggest champion and cheerleader. And so I'm honored to be on the call on your channel today to let people know that you are the kind of people that we are trying to attract. And the people that you're attracting, I think that's what they're looking for. They're looking for real people who want to help them change their lives. I'm not interested in the hardcore closers. I'm not in those Facebook pages, closers,
Yeah.
tips, tricks, and all the other things. And for me, it's not about that. For me, it's
Yeah.
about attracting the right people for the right reasons, building real value and helping people see a vision and a future for their life in this industry that's so special. And that's what Lasting Mark's all about. It's in our name. If you want to know what we're about impact and legacy and about you leaving a lasting mark, not just for your clients, but for you and your family and for your children's children. God's word says a good person leaves an inheritance for their children's children. Well, how can we do that if we're only focused on the Lambo that we're trying to get and put on social media? To me, that's not a heritage for my children's children.
People watching this right now, I think for a fair number of reasons of past experiences, will be watching this with a a little bit of skepticism. I've heard this before.
Yeah,
I've been sold the dream, and I know we're not selling the dream of the cars and the money, and like that's the outcome. Like that's the obvious
absolutely. Yeah. If there
what,
wasn't money, nobody would be doing this. So
yeah.
let's
So
just be
yeah,
real about that. Yeah.
we're here to make a great living and to impact lives and to provide for ourselves and our families and all of that. Like that goes
Yes.
without being stated. What I'm referring to is, okay, well, here Roger is on the podcast talking about all the wonderful things he's going to do and what the company does, but I know as soon as I get in there, we're never even going to see Roger. I bet you
That
there's
is,
people out there that really, really feel that way, and
yeah,
I don't blame them,
they
right?
might. Hmm.
I don't blame them because the higher you get in an org, the more disconnected I think sometimes people can become with
Yeah.
the agents that are just coming in.
Yeah.
So um, I I want you to share with us like how often do you host calls for everybody on your everybody in Lasting Mark? How involved are you specifically, as well as some of the other managing partners at Lasting Mark? Like, what type of presence do you have? I know the
Yeah.
answer, but I want you to.
That's a great question. Well, I started my day today and my first call was at 7:30 a.m. Eastern time. It's a call that I've scheduled every 2 weeks with one of our strategic partners about his business, his life, his marriage, his faith, his family, because we're serving the whole person here. It's not just, hey, how's your sales going? Because your sales can be going great, but if your life's falling apart and you don't know why you're doing it, or your marriage is falling apart, like we're working with real people with real, this is not a separation of church and state kind of thing where we keep work and everything else separate. This is us doing life on life. That's what I love about what we do. That started. I literally rolled into meeting after meeting. We did a podcast this morning. I I had another meeting with a key strategic partner who has agents that he wanted to analyze and help increase their placement and persistency. And we looked at numbers. I reached out to carriers. We got reports. We brought on 3 people on a meeting. We did a full deep dive. We have follow-up meetings set up for that to look into how we can increase what the numbers tell us. Um, I mean, all the way through tonight, we're doing a Leading with Impact segment tonight that we do once a month, Brian and I together. And there we talk about agency growth and leadership development. This is not a sales call that we're doing tonight. It's actually a leadership development call. Like, who are you as a person? Who are you learning from? Who are you growing? Who are you becoming? And what are you attracting? Are people attracted to you because of who you're becoming, or just because of a comp? Are they coming to you because of a comp and a lead? Because they can get a comp and a lead anywhere, Dana. You know that.
Yes, I do.
People are attracted to people who see a future for them together in the relationship in that community. And so when you and I talked, I was very invested in the relationship. Number one, because I was so shocked that this would happen to you. Someone of your caliber, someone who's such an excellent teacher and a communicator, and who's got such a presence out there on the web because of your channel. And yet that would be to happen. I reached out not to, it wasn't, my reach out was not because we had just talked like maybe 6 or 8 weeks before about possibly collaborating on Life Insurance Academy and the Final Expense Telesales channel. And that started the conversation. And then when I heard that, I just reached out and texted you, and you like, yeah, I'm going to be shopping. I said, I'm open to talking. And then that started a conversation. And I think the conversations you were having with me were different than the ones you were having with other people,
Yes.
and different than other groups, and for a variety of reasons. And I would love for you to maybe share some of those. But I'm literally involved on a daily basis with people from brand new agents. On Thursday, tomorrow, I fly to Tupelo, Mississippi. I'm doing training at 2 of our agents. They're doing an event in Tupelo. Brian and I are both flying there ourselves. There'll probably be 30 people in that room. 30 agents, not 300, not 600, not 150 of six-figure producers. This is a new agent opportunity boot camp for agents to come and learn. And Brian is going to teach, and I'm going to teach. And we're flying in to be with him for one day. And then from there, I'm flying to Austin, Texas to be at another one of our partners, their daughter's getting married. And I was honored to be invited to that wedding. So my wife and I are going to be and celebrate his daughter's wedding. Like this is life on life stuff. It's business, it's life, it's training, it's coaching, it's leadership development. And then I come back, I fly back on Sunday night. And on Tuesday, we go into another 3-day telesales boot camp where I'm in the room with my partner, Chris, who's also a Life Insurance Academy coach, with Zach, with Tim. And we're in the room with 20 people who are flying in from all over the country, headsets on, listening to conversations with clients, coaching, training. Don't say this, say that. Hey, like
So
move forward.
you're basically like you are
Yeah.
in the weeds day in and day out with
Mm,
strategic partners, with the agents. You are fully vested, not just with money, but your time and
yes.
what you pour into it. And you didn't even speak up on this Thursday with the Life Insurance Academy training that you offer to everybody in Lasting Mark. The Meet the Partners that you do every Thursday, no matter where in the world you are.
Hmm.
You did a Meet the Partners when you were in the Philippines. You did a Meet the Partners when you were just in Florida. Like you don't
Yeah.
stop, right? You
No.
don't stop and you consistently impress and bring me to awe with how
Mm.
much you are invested in pouring into every single partner and person that is investing back, to you.
Well,
Um,
I'm honored that you would say that, but I think like recognizes like, so I can't take anything away from you because I see the exact same thing in you and how much you serve and pour into your team. And you right from the early get go, when it's 6 a.m. in the morning your time and it's 9 a.m. here, and you have agents that are rolling, you're literally communicating in Slack and you're rolling all the way into the evening, and you are literally empowering, pun intended, you're empowering agents to succeed and make a difference, and you are fully invested. So I think like recognizes like there, and I have much respect for you doing the same. I believe in servant leadership. I believe that the people who get in the rooms that make a difference to the one is just as important as the person who gets up and speaks in front of 1,000,
mhm.
because that one might be the one to go change 1,000.
I-
And
yeah.
God's got a calling on my life that's much bigger than what I know it to be, and stuff He's orchestrating. I can't see it. I'm just going to try to be faithful in the talents and giftings that I feel He's gifted me with, and the relationships that He's brought me, the struggles that we've been through, the challenges that we've overcome, the stuff we have to persist to overcome and figure out and navigate. But I believe this: if you get enough of the right people around you, you can figure anything out and you can step forward and move together. And there's no better way to build something that leaves a lasting mark than that. And so I believe that's why we're attracting some of the best people in the industry. And mark my word, Dana, 5 years from now, you will not be having this podcast saying, "Why is lasting Mark the best kept secret?" Everybody will know. Mark my word.
That I love to hear right there. I cannot wait for that. And I think it'll be faster than 5 years from now, by the way.
Yeah. Well,
Um,
it's cool when you see other people telling the story on your behalf. And the thing about lasting Mark, that I want to communicate to your listeners is that we are here to empower you in your business. We
mhm.
don't want you to become a lasting mark agent. Yes, we may partner with you, but the term strategic partners is very intentional. That's how we refer to you. We are honored that people choose to do business with us. We roll up our sleeves, just like mine are now. We roll up our sleeves and we get in there with you to build something special together. And I feel like that's the best way that alliances are built, because when people see that we have their interest and not just trying to get them to conform to our interest, it takes on a whole different dimension and focus for vision and what the future can hold for us together. And that's what we're building here. It's something special. And I think there's not too many organizations, there's maybe none in the industry that's treating it that way. So I think we have something very special.
You said something a few minutes ago about the type of agents that we attract.
Mm,
And I've shared with you recently that, I have a block every single day where I have interviews and it never ceases to amaze me the quality of the agents that I feel I am attracting, not just because of me, and who I am and what I can provide. But I think they see that alignment between where I decided to land and the bigger picture about why I landed with Lasting Mark, as opposed to maybe somebody else or other groups that are very loud, right? And
Mm,
maybe they thought that's where I was going to go. And so because of that, because I made a very a decision based on alignment from a much bigger perspective, not just based on who's the loudest, right? And who's the sexiest and who where am I going to get the most attention? The quality of the brokers, I'll call them, that have been attracted here,
mhm,
it really does continue to blow me away. I mean,
mm,
people that are very happy where they are, never thought in a million years they would ever leave,
mm.
but they were happy to a place of just being content.
Yeah.
No, they had their contracts, most of them very high.
Hmm.
They were kind of writing their business, 10, 15, 20,000 a month. They kind of did their job, went home, but no fulfillment, no
Mm,
path for growth, nobody really kind of pouring into them, just being kind of alone on an island with no reason to go anywhere else because I'm not going to get a higher contract than this. And then they see what's happening here
mhm,
and they see the amount of attention and opportunity and take my ability to take people to the next level. Now, the ability to turn top agents into great leaders, but doing it
mm.
in a way where it's not recruit, 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 right? It's let's do this methodically, thoughtfully, build a foundation that isn't you just co-signing debt, right?
Correct.
But you're
Correct.
doing it to where you're bringing on the right people for the right reasons who align with you, who align with me, who align with you. And that's where I think the real strong growth becomes, where I think that attrition becomes a thing of the past. Like the only reason an agent is going to leave is if because they retire.
Yes.
And so I don't really have a question there. Maybe just feed off of what I'm noticing and maybe just contribute to what I've been experiencing.
Yeah, I think some people, they come to us sometimes and they come from other groups or other models and they say, "Well, I need help recruiting. How do you recruit? How do you recruit?" And or I need to recruit. I want to recruit some agents, and that's the language they're using. And I almost want to start shifting their language and their thought on that because I have a different philosophy on that. My philosophy is, what are you inviting people to? Are you recruiting agents to sell for your team so you can add volume and you can make an override and you can make money? Or are you inviting people to an opportunity to build something with you for a future together for your families where you can literally travel the world? You can build a life together, you can build a legacy together, and they can grow to realize their fullest potential as a leader, as a developer of other people. So I think a lot of the people that may feel like they're content where they are selling, they can't go anywhere, they've already got great comp, but yet there's something missing. What is the thing that's missing? What is missing? Here's what's missing is purpose. They thought their purpose was to make six figures. When they start making six figures, they go, "Oh, that actually wasn't my purpose." Okay, I'm making six figures. I know how to do that. What next? And I don't think it's just because we're like a microwave society or a social media society where we feel like we got to have the next best thing or the next best car or the next best trip. But people are fulfilled when they're pursuing the passion of their purpose. And what is that? What is that? So just in mine and your conversations over the past 3 months since, we've embarked on this relationship together, you and I have had some one-on-one heart to hearts, right? And you may have called me for advice on an individual and 20 minutes later you have some feels going on. You have some emotions happening because maybe some of the language is different than you've experienced before. And for you, what is that? For you, what is that thing? Because I want them to, because I don't think they hear that from you either about what's happening on the inside of Dana that's attracting you, that's making you so passionate about aligning with these right people. What does that feel like for you?
I'll tell you what, that is a hard question for you to ask me because I get emotional thinking about it. And I don't
Mm,
want to turn this into Dana cries on her own podcast show. But yeah, so what this is pulling out of me is something I
mm,
didn't even know existed because it's always been about the numbers
mm.
and the money and the goals and the next levels and the things, right? And the quotas. Even in my previous jobs, it's you are a number and how much numbers can we get out of you? Uh,
Yeah.
and so you just kind of when you go for 20 plus years experiencing that kind of feedback, you kind of become just numb. You just kind of become this machine that just
Yeah.
produces and goes and doesn't have an off button because you're just conditioned to perform, right?
Mm.
Just like you ring the bell, perform, and you perform at a high level because that's what people expect of you. And
And
because
that's what seems to get recognized and rewarded.
that's what gets recognized, that what gets rewarded, that's where you get your money, right?
Hmm.
Get that instant gratification from your commissions and the recognitions and being at the top of the leaderboard. But all of that is like it's a temporary high because tomorrow you are back to zero.
Yeah.
And so you're always like on the chase.
Hmm.
And there's no fulfillment beyond. You have to find that internal fulfillment outside of work, right? With your family, and for me, my husband and my children and my friends, and to be honest, a lot of work is 80% of my life. There
Hmm.
isn't a lot of room left for that type of fulfillment. So when someone like you or even Zach or Chris pours into me in that 80% work mode where I'm like, wait, this is not part of my pattern of what I'm used to. And you actually care about me as a person, my husband, my children. I'm
Mm.
not used to that. And that is bringing out stuff that I'm not prepared to deal with. Like this is a therapy session, right? Like it's a lot. And so, but what I'm recognizing in that
Mm.
is because that's how I've been programmed, I now recognize I need to be more of that person to my team.
Yes.
And
Yes.
so I've always kind of been like by the book, because that's how I was trained. And I know that what gets results. But I know that based on what you're drawing out of me, that I have so much room to be able to become an even better leader by being able to draw that stuff out of my team.
There is so much capacity in the Dana Neeson that I know.
So
There is so much capacity for you to
yeah, and I
impact this
just don't
industry in
think
a different way.
anybody else that I had spoken to, and I spoke to 20 of them, not one person was ever able to get close to that,
Mm.
not even scratch the surface. And so I leaned into what was uncomfortable because I knew
Mm.
that this is different. This probably is something that I need to lean into and explore. And I think that I can be called for something really, really great if I don't
Mm.
stick to the status quo of numbers and getting on a leaderboard and being the number one team. Of course, I want all that stuff,
Yes.
but that at the end of the day, that's not what really matters.
Yes. I love that. I love that. I won't go deeper because I don't want you to get emotional on your own
You're gonna
podcast.
make me emotional, so don't.
I know people are watching this going, wow, we're having like an inside look at these two talking and connecting.
Yeah,
But you know what, Dana? There's so many people out there that if they just learn to talk to their clients this way
right.
and just be real and have this real human interaction and see the person that's sitting in front of them as someone that God's created and put on this planet that deserves respect. And we have this moment right now at this time that I have an opportunity to influence them for the betterment of their life, to put a policy in place, to put a plan in place to protect the people they love the most when they're not going to be there. And it's not about the premium and the policy amount and the rider. It's not. It's about how that person feels
Mhm.
because you spoke to them differently than any other person's ever treated them. And maybe they're opening up to you for the first time and having the first time real conversation about something that's so sensitive that they've never broached it with anyone before. But yet we sometimes as new people coming in this industry, we have so much trepidation. I don't know if that's the best word, but we have so much anxiety about even being vulnerable ourselves that we don't want to like cross the veil of literally like being vulnerable and having a real conversation with people. Because guess what? Those people have hopes and dreams. They may be 76 years old, but they have a hope and dream. It's different than yours,
Yeah.
but their hope and dream is for the people that they're going to be leaving in a few short years. And how do we help them communicate that to their clients in a real way, the same way that you and I are communicating right now as real people? And I hope people watching your podcast feel it. I hope they hear it. They're worthy of that interaction and they're worthy of a community that treats them like this because inside of them is that same person that's asking themselves, am I enough? Am I enough? And can I achieve this? And does someone see me? Does someone see me in the middle of my struggle, what I'm trying to accomplish with my life? My marriage has got some challenges. My job is in jeopardy, or I lost my job and it's shaking my belief in myself. And I'm wondering if I am who I say I am. I've got some imposter syndrome going on. I'm trying to fake it till I make it. I got limited resources in my bank account. I'm trying to navigate this. How much do I need to set aside? I'm worried. I'm pregnant. I had a miscarriage. I'm dealing with these things. I've got a child who's autistic, and I've got another child who needs my love and attention. And I'm trying to balance the two. And I'm trying to be a mom and like the world is full of those people, and yet we want to get on the internet and just say, buy more leads, do more, close more, sell more, get rid of the tire kickers quicker, and close more.
Right.
And it just hurts my soul that that's how we treat our community. And we're not that community. Lasting Mark is not that. We're going to call out inside of you what's great. And we're going to hold it up in front of you and say, what do you want? I will help you get it. We're going to meet people. Our mission statement, we meet people where they are and help them get where they want to go. And we expand their vision along the way by providing a community, resources, and tools to help them grow and become the person they were destined to be. And when they tell us what they want, our other job is to hold up that picture and remind them this is what you said you wanted, and this is who you said you want to be. And at the same time, we need to hold up the mirror and show them this is who you actually are. Are you
Yeah.
stepping into the person you said you wanted to be? Because we can do this together, but you got to be real on both of those. And so I think that's what the Lasting Mark community is all about. And some people call this the touchy feely group. We got an insult one time. Someone thought they were insulting us and said, "You went there? Oh, that's that touchy feely group." I laughed out loud. I'm
That's,
like,
you
"Is
want to
that
know
the?"
what's so funny about that? This morning during my team training, I had the team collectively, we watched a YouTube video by Jefferson Fisher, and
Mm,
he had interviewed Charles Duhigg or Doug. I don't remember how you say his last name, and it was about the number one habit of expert communications, about a book that he wrote.
okay.
But it all boiled down to the best salespeople are going to be the ones that are there to kind of be that touchy feely person to help people, listen to people. We talk about a lot of this in training in your Life Insurance Academy training. I had the team listen to this morning. Our sales training this morning was about communication. It
Mm,
was about listening. It was about listening for the clues. I mean, we had I made everybody take notes, 2, 3 pages of notes. It was communication training, right? How
yeah.
to be a better communicator, which will
Yeah.
ultimately help you be a better communicator person in your whole life, not just
Yes.
about this. And
Yes.
the reason I'm bringing this up, because you piggybacking on something you just said again, so many agents are so focused on how many carriers can I get? Because I need to have all the carriers to have the cheapest price because I need to be able to be the most competitive, and like that's where their focus lies. And I keep reminding them and not necessarily people on my team are doing that, but what I'm trying to keep reminding people is I worked at a pretty much a captive agency, one carrier, one product, the most expensive probably. That's out.
Yeah, pretty much. I would agree with that.
It wasn't about that I had access to 20 plus carriers and shopping around for them as a broker and let me give you the best policy. It was
Mm,
that I had the ability to help somebody feel like they were heard, that
yeah.
I had the ability to help somebody understand that if they don't change, whether it's with me or somebody else, that their family will be left, with nothing. And that you don't have to get so in your head about, well, you don't have that one carrier and they can do level coverage for this condition. And like, guys, you are just completely missing the point.
Mm,
And so the way that you train, the way that I train, in talking about the alignment, it's like we're not just focusing on the whole person from the agent, but we're also focusing on the whole person from the client. And
exactly.
that all translates downstream,
Hmm.
ultimately is putting the client in the best position because they're making a change. They're
Hmm.
making a change to protect their family. It's helping the agent because the more people that you can help, the better off financially and happy and more fulfilled you will be. And then it goes upstream where it helps the agency and then it helps the IMO and everybody is moving in the same boat at the same speed in the same direction in the same messaging and none of it is about how many carriers you have and who's going to put them in level. Like we have 200 carriers, but that's not our focus, right?
No,
Our focus is just so much bigger, and that's really what I want people to understand. Why Lasting Mark, why a Power Life Group? It's because it's just so much bigger than these little minute things that people are focused on.
100%. When people are coming into the business at first, though, they don't know these things. So
They
they
don't.
they think it's about price. That's okay. We can bring them in on that. We meet people where they are, help them get where they
Yes.
want to go. We expand their vision along the way to what's really most important. And I have learned that some of the best people that I've ever worked with are people that could not sell their way out of a wet paper bag. They couldn't. But they were people who cared, and they were
Mhm.
people who worked hard, and there were people who had grit and resolve and who've gone through some things in their life, and they kept their commitments. So when I say that, in the Bible, the 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 religious teachers of the time, they were all about their resumes. They were all about how much they knew. They
Mm.
walked around all pious about, what do you know? I know this, and it was all about who was the most knowledgeable. I'm holding my robe now. If you can
Yes,
see,
it's very
but
posh.
I'm envisioning holding a robe, and it's very eloquent and royal. And they wore these headdresses, and this is who I am. And it was all about prestige and piety, and look at me. And they looked at people for what they had and their resume and what they looked like. Jesus comes along, and he goes and talks to the guys fishing over the side of the boat who stink of fish and salt water and who have dirty feet and sandals. And he extended invitations. He didn't review applications, he extended invitations. And that invitation is, are you someone who has resolve, commitment in your life, character, trust? You want to make a difference with that person. I can take that person and we can do anything together because
Mm.
that person can lead. That person can learn how to connect. That person can see the opportunity and light in someone else. That person can see inside someone's potential and see them for who they can become. And that's the people that those are the people that others are attracted to. When you can see inside somebody for their potential, it's like the little 5-year-old kid who wants to be picked for the team, who doesn't want to be picked last, and they just want to be recognized. That's why the little kids are looking around the room for their parents when they're standing up there to do their first play. Where's my mom and dad? Where's my mom and dad? I need to know that they see me. Dana, we're no different. I'm a 57-year-old man, 56-year, I'll be 57 next year. And we all have that same thing inside of us. We want to know. that someone sees me and that I'm valued and that I have value and that I can bring that to someone else. And I think not enough people are calling that out in people. So if you come here at Lasting Mark, if you join Dana and her team, we're going to call that out of you. We're going to call that out of you.
Whether you like it or not.
Some of it becomes a little uncomfortable, but I guarantee you, you're going to grow.
You'll
You are
grow.
going to grow and you're going to become the best version of yourself, the person who God has designed you to be and sees you to be. And we're going to call that out of you because I'm always looking. I'm like always pulling back to see what's really behind the person who's telling me the story about the price needs to be the most important thing. And I'm wondering what's gone on in the back and what they're trying to accomplish right now so I can meet them where they're at and help them get where they want to go to find out what they really want in life. And then once
Mhm.
we get to that conversation, then everything changes. So
Definitely.
I love who you guys are attracting, Dana. It's not just you. What people don't know about you, and I'm going to tell the world, and I think you should have your husband on the podcast. I know you're trying to keep him separate, and I know you're trying to keep him, he's doing his thing and you do yours, but you have an amazing husband and you have two beautiful children. You're an incredible mom. You have a great marriage. You make a great team. He gives you great sound counsel and advice. You give him great sound counsel and advice and feedback. It's really it was really a cool thing. And the reason why I invited both of you to come here when you came and not just you is because my wife is in this with me. We've been married 32 years. It'll be 33 years this year. And she has stood by my side. And the people that matter to me the most are the people that should matter to the IMO the most. They should be. They should. And so, like, one of your hidden talents and your hidden secrets about your success is the person who's very rarely on the camera. And his name is Shell, by the way. I'm telling you, his name is Shell. And it doesn't spell Shell. You'll have to spell it and we'll put it out there. Maybe you can put in the comments below how to spell his name properly.
Hey, if you wanna see my husband being interviewed on this podcast and you're still following this video up until this point, let me know. Put it in the comments. Do you want me to
You,
interview my husband? Because he has played a very huge role.
yeah. And so like there's this this is your life. This is the people you care and love the most. And that's why I wanted to meet him because it's not going to work if I'm only interested in you. I want to know why are you interested? What are you fighting for your family? Who's important to you? So when I get the text from you and you're at another event for your daughter Addison and you're setting up for like a whole day because you are hosting the gymnastics and she's going to win three more medals and you're a proud mom, that's as much of who you are as the person who's one of the most unbelievable trainers on the web. That's the same person. But I guarantee you, if you had to make a decision between the two, your YouTube channel would shut down tomorrow.
Between this and my family?
Yeah.
Oh,
And
yeah.
Addison, if you had to make a decision, there would be no, it's not even close.
Yeah.
So why would we not lean in to find out what's really important and help you become the best for them and their future and their legacy? I was honored to have all three of my daughters and my wife stand on the stage with me at our event in Branson last Saturday night. My oldest daughter, Madison, my middle daughter, Olivia, who's 28, my oldest daughter's 30, married to Paul, and we have a grandson with him, Alden, who's will be 2 soon in August. And then my youngest, Ashlyn, who's 19, who's a sophomore at the University of Cincinnati at the School of Business there, and my wife. And I was honored to have them stand there. And I look behind me, and Brian's entire family is there represented, son-in-laws and daughters, and like the people in the audience, their people and their guests and their family and their daughters. And I'm able to call out children of agents who've been in the business now with us for years, in the hunt with us, and now their kids have grown up into this. What a special place.
Yeah.
You know, I think there's a lot of organizations out there you'd be embarrassed to bring your kids to. You wouldn't want them there because of maybe some of the things that go on. I've heard stories, I know stories, I've heard direct reports. Um, but that is not this place. That is not this place. I cannot. I love to get my kids there. I flew my oldest and my youngest from Cincinnati and Louisville to fly them there, and they took them all day to get there with delays in Chicago, and they couldn't get there, but they made it there for the evening where we represented and recognized all of our top leaders and producers at our gala. And I was, and, it did my heart good when they walked into the room. I'm like, okay, they're here. They get
Yeah.
to see the people that we're impacting and they want to be a part of it. And my middle daughter, Olivia, got up on stage and introduced me for my keynote on Saturday afternoon as a surprise. I didn't know she was going to do that. And like, how special is that? Like, guys, we are building something here for the future, for our families, for the people that we're pouring into. And we might teach final expense telesales. We might teach script coaching. We might teach rebuttals. We might teach asking internal based questions versus transactional questions and yes and no's. And we teach that stuff. And that's a part of the process, but we're doing it for a bigger purpose. So why Lasting Mark is because I want to make a difference in the world. And I'm looking for people who want to do that with me. And I believe Empower Life Group is going to be one of the biggest and one of the best. So you better get on the train now because in 5 years, you're going to regret it if you didn't. But if you get in now, you're going to be like, holy cow, what a ride it's been.
Yes.
What a ride it's been. And I would be honored to have your kids walk on stage with you, Dana, when you get recognized with you and Shell.
You're doing it again. All right.
I am. I am.
Well, next year we will definitely be there.
Because
Whether
I know that those are the people that are most important to you. And I want them to feel great in our community. And I want them to see their mom being recognized for the woman she is and the woman she's becoming and the people she's leading. And you do it very well. You do it very well. And that's a great example to set for your children and ultimately for your children's children. I know you haven't thought that far, but it's coming. But that is a great example to set for them. And they will always look back and remember those moments. Dana, there was a pivotal moment for you. We had to do this leadership call in 15 minutes, and
I
I'm still
know,
on the
that's all right.
podcast with you. We
I
got
told
like
you we're going straight from this to the
yes,
leadership call.
yes, yes. I saw a video of you being recognized for who you are and the work you put in when you received that watch.
Yeah.
You shared a video of you receiving that watch. And it was a moment that you shed a tear because in that moment, you were seen and you were recognized for the work that you were putting in. And we all have that inside of us, all of us. And when the people we love the most get to see that happen for us, how powerful is that as an example of what they then can go do for themselves and the future and the life and the community that they want to surround themselves with, that people will do that for them. So I want nothing more than that for you and the Empower Life Group. So let's go Empower Life Group. Let Lasting Mark diminish so Empower Life Group can rise.
Thank you so much, Roger, for being on here today. What an amazing, powerful conversation. I hope everybody watches the whole thing to the very, very end. Thank you so much for watching. We are honored to have you, and we'll see you next time.
You're gonna have to do some teaser at the front end to get them to stay on this long because if you don't, they might miss the best part. They might
I think
just
that's
miss
the teaser.
best part. Holy cow. What just happened? Anyway, thank you for the honor of being on your channel. I appreciate it. Can't wait
Thank
to
you.
see how you grow and the lives you're going to change. Thank you so much.